to the Magento 2 coding starting course. My name is Mohammed Tawfiq and I have been a Magento developer now for over 5 years. Magento 2 was extremely difficult for me and the framework seemed so complex. But after a lot of trial and error, I finally started picking it up little by little until I eventually became extremely proficient. I created this course to help you fix algorithms of Magento 2 framework. These complex topics broke down into extremely small and easy to understand lessons. The Coding Kickstart course covers all of the core fundamentals that you need to become a proficient to become a Magento 2 developer, to kick the wheel so you can start to be productive way more quickly. You will learn about the app structure, how routing and controllers work, how to extend core code and dependency injection interfaces, different design patterns and usages, ways to modify page layout and understand data management. It is great toward back-end development, but almost all of the concepts in this course also apply to front-end developers, as they need to truly know how the core of Magento works before understanding the front end. This is mostly a video-based course. If course examples are in a lesson, there is also related link to the source code on GitHub, as well as a place to leave a comments on a lesson. Some lessons have additional info and graphics below the video, so be sure to check those out along the way. This course, as soon as you have experience with PHP and some skills with web development. Most importantly in this course, to be successful you need to have a better grade and a lot of patience. Magento 2 is still very difficult. But I hope this course extremely simplifies the really hard and complex tasks that you cannot quite understand at the moment. If there is something more involved with this that either doesn't align with a specific lesson or is more complex, you are feel free to comment your issue and I will try my best to help you. Thanks for watching and let's start the course together. Good luck with the course.
In this lesson, we will install Magento 2.4.6. First, we will go to and download Docker. We will download Docker from here and install it. After installing Docker, I will go to Insights folder and create new directory named Magento 2. Then I will open PHP store and click open. I will open Magento 2 directory. Then I will go to Dark Magento repo on GitHub for Mark Schust and copy this command. I will open terminal in the project and paste the command here. Now I will copy this command and for downloading Magento 2.4.6 Community Edition. After that, I will install Magento using this command, magento.dev. Now I will open the URL. Here we are. Magento 2.4.6 installed successfully. In this lesson, we will learn more about Magento 2 project structure. Just like any other framework, Magento has an application structure that is very well defined. Every folder in Magento has a purpose, and it's important to create files and folders that follow this structure. The main directories with code are app. You will see it here, which contains all of your locally developed code and where you will be spending about 90% of your time. And also vendor, which contains all of Magento core code as well as any third-party code installed from the marketplace or anywhere else. But let's check out each of these directories to find out what is going on. If we explained this app directory, we will see that it has three subdirectories: code and design and Etsy. Code is where any custom modules that you will create. Design contains any theme related code for both the admin and front-end themes. And Etsy is a utility folder that contains configuration specific to this Magento store in config.php. We will see here config.php or to a specific server environment in the env.php here. Moving on to the bin directory, we will see only one file, and this is a tool used with command line interface to carry out tasks in Magento such as flushing the cache or running a setup upgrade scripts. Moving on to dev folder. This folder contains scripts for executing unit tests and for tools that are used in front-end code compilation processes such as Gran. The generated directory contains this one, dynamically generated code. We will learn more about it later, but this code built at the time that code is executed. This is similar to a cache that you will need to clear out from time to time. This is on ephemeral directory, just like vendor directory, which means that we can remove everything in this generated code folder and the code will be recreated. If you are in Magento developer mode, the files here are created right away. But if you are in production mode, you will need to run a separate line with bin/Magento command line interface script to generate these files in this folder. Moving on to lib directory, we will find here only just third-party JavaScript libraries such as jQuery and Knockout.js. This PHP server directory contains router.php. This is a file Magento uses with PHP built-in web server. I wouldn't recommend using this built-in PHP web server because solutions such as Nginx are much powerful and fully featured. This is more of files that can possibly be used for carrying out very small testing and tasks. We will move to pub folder here. The pub directory is the main entry for web server such as Nginx. Rather than the web servers point at this entire source, it points to the pub folder for increasing security. This means that any files outside of this folder cannot be directly accessed from the web. They must pass through the pub folder. A file in the pub folder, since this is the web root, files such as image uploads are stored in the pub media directory, and static assets such as CSS and JavaScript are stored in static directory. Similar to this generated directory, this static directory built at runtime in dev mode, but in production mode, the contents of this directory are generated with bin/Magento script. Moving on to setup directory. This is a directory used to carry out setup related tasks when installing Magento. Otherwise, it's really not used. The var directory is pretty important, this one, as it contains a storage of cached and log files. The composer home directory contains a cache of all stored repository data from composer. The log directory contains log files that would be written from either Magento core code or custom modules. For example, let's see debug.log file contains outputs that could be useful when programmatically debugging Magento code, while another file such as system.log contains Magento system messages and errors. There is also an exception.log, but it is not here, which is generated when exceptions arise in Magento. So there is not any exception messages, so there is no file here named exception.log. The page cache directory stores the references to the full page, and the session directory contains data related to customer. Note that both of these directories are blank. This is because it's now common to store the cache and the session in a Redis server. This speeds up web requests even during local development, since files don't need to be written to or read from the file system in memory. Cache is much faster. And finally, vendor folder contains all of the third-party code. The entire contents of this folder are generated with Composer, and this includes the Magento directory, which is all of the core Magento code. Inside of this directory are many subdirectories, each relating to a specific Magento component or a module. And this also includes code for the Magento framework. All of these directories in vendor folder also ephemeral, meaning they can go away anytime. If you go back to the root of Magento and make any updates to the root of Magento and make any updates to this composer.json file and run composer install, this will purge any changes in the vendor directory that have occurred since the last time this command was executed. Because of this, you will never want to make any updates to any of these files. They will not persist a deployment. In this lesson, we will know how to create new admin user using command line. Let's go to our project terminal and we will write this command bin/magento. We will put the username, password, admin@magento.dev, first name admin, last name admin. Now the username created successfully. We will go now to the admin URL magento.dev/admin. We will put here the username and the password. Click sign in. We will notice that we have this issue here. We need to configure two-factor authorization. We will disable this module so we can log in without any configuration. I will use this command. We will notice this module dependent on other module. We have to disable this module first. So we will use the same command. We will copy this module name and disable it, and we write the command for disable two-factor auth. Now we flush the cache. Now we will go back to the admin and refresh the page. Okay, done. Before we get into code, let's talk about the different application modes available in Magento. First, we have default mode. This mode is the initial mode that applies after Magento new installation. We shouldn't stay at this mode. We have to switch to either developer or production mode. Now we will go to the terminal. Use this command deploy mode show. We will notice here I am in developer mode. We can either switch to production or set deploy mode to developer. We can use command to switch to developer mode or this command to switch to production mode. For the developer mode, the mode is preferred for development process. In this mode, errors are displayed in the browser. We go to the controller and click refresh. I will see here the exception is displayed and its message demo. I will comment this one and refresh the page. It came back to work. There is also XML files are validated against their schemas, so I will try to here add S in this XML file, and we will see if it throws an error. We should flush the cache first and refresh the page. We will see here this error message: routes.xml is invalid. This routes is not expected. Expected is route. I will go back again and remove the S and refresh the page. It came back to work. Also, I will open Inspector DevTools for Chrome by shortcut Command Option I in Mac, or we can open it from here, these three dots, More Tools, Developer Tools. I will refresh the page and look for moment.js. This file is loaded in this page. I will delete it. I will go to the container, then remove this file. And now this file is deleted. I will refresh the page again. We will notice that this file is generated again on the fly. We will go to now to the admin panel and go to the stores configuration. We will notice here advanced option. We will see developer option here. It will not be there if the website or the store in production mode. We can see here debug option, and there is also JavaScript and CSS settings. We will notice here that Minify JavaScript is not applied in developer mode. Also, JavaScript bundling and Minify CSS files is not applied in developer mode also. These are all about developer mode. In this lesson, we will know how to create a new module. First, Magento module naming convention. The naming convention module in Magento are straightforward. A module name consists of two parts, vendor name and module name. In this course, we will use ITC4U as a vendor name. I will go to app code and create a new directory. I will call it ITC4U. And the module name, we will name it as Kickstart. It is better to capitalize the first letter of the vendor name and the module name. Now we will create the module.xml file. Here I will create first etc folder, because module.xml file we need to create it in etc folder, and we will create new file module.xml. I will use predefined template for module.xml here. You can copy it also from another module in Magento vendor Magento folder. If we go to here Magento any module and go to etc, and we will see here module.xml, and you notice this module vendor name and the module name in the module.xml. Second, we will register the module. We will create here in the Kickstart folder file name registration.php. Also, I will use predefined template registration. We will see here also the component register is a module, and the module component name ITC4U underscore Kickstart. We will now enable the module from command line. We will use pen/Magento module enable ITC4U. The module has been enabled. We will clear the cache of Magento cache flush. Now we will check if module is enabled or not. I will use this command Magento module status. We will see here our Magento module we have just created ITC4U underscore Kickstart. If you don't see the module here, please double check the spelling and the casing of the module name in your directory and code files. Now we have finished creating the new module. Magento's URLs are constructed using a model view controller MVC, but comprising three key components: front name, controller name, and action name. These elements are instrumental in routing requests within Magento's structured framework. To grasp this concept, let's delve into creating a unique combination of these components. Let's creating a new account in Magento. This route consists of first front name customer, controller name account, and action name create. Initiating a route. Front name marks the beginning of quest linking to designated module. Route declarations are XML based and necessitate specifying the route's context. Magento segregates its operational areas into front end and admin HTML, with front end managing the user facing segment and admin HTML overseeing administrative functionalities. For handling front end requests, a front end folder is established inside the etc directory. We will create new directory here, name front end, and then we will create new file name routes.xml, and I will use predefined template for routes. First, the route here is standard, and the route ID I will name it Kickstart, and front name is Kickstart. This is the two key attributes. Both are assigned the value to capture requests directed at /Kickstart. In this lesson, we will know how to create a Magento controller. As we discussed in the previous lesson, the controller consists of two parts, controller name and action name. We will create new controller under Kickstart folder. The file name is index.php. We will the folder controller and folder index our controller name and action name index.php. You will notice here I capital in both the controller name and action name, and the controller folder also the C is capital, and I will hit enter, and I will use predefined template for our controller. We will see here the class name is index and it implements HTTP GET action interface. I will comment this for a moment and will use die function kickstart. Then I will clear the cache flush. This is a shortcut for our command C:F, or I can use bin/magento cache flush like this. After we cleared the cache, I will go to our start controller and the request is now working. Also, if we go to kickstart/index/index, we will go to the same page as we know, but for Magento, if the controller name index and action name is index, will be the same. If we remove them, we'll go to directly to Kickstart. We are diving into the world of Magento 2, and specifically we will exploring the powerful design pattern called dependency injection. But before we jump in, let's imagine you are baking a cake. You need ingredients, right? Flour, sugar, eggs, the list goes on. Instead of running around the kitchen mixing everything yourself, it would be much easier if someone handed you the prepared ingredients one by one as you need them. That is the essence of dependency injection. Why is a dependency injection important in Magento 2? Magento 2 heavily relies on dependency injection, making it a core principle of its architecture. This brings several advantages. Loose coupling. Classes become less dependent on each other as they rely on injected dependencies, not concrete implementations. This makes the code more flexible and easier to maintain. Testability. By injecting dependency explicitly, you can easily isolate and test individual classes without needing the entire Magento environment. Also, extensibility. Dependency injection allows you to easily swap out different implementations of the same interface. enabling smooth plugin development and customization. Let's go to the actual code now, and we will assume we have a category has method get name, and we need to use this method in a product class. First, I will click here in PHP store and click Command N in the Mac or Control N in the Win. I will initialize the constructor, and I will inject the category here in the product. We'll see here our category class, and I will initialize the properties. I will click Option Enter on the keyboard to initialize the properties. I will this is automatically initialization from PHP store. I will just remove this one. Now we have our category injected to the product class. Now I need to get the category name, so I will make new function here called function return type string, and I will get the category name from the method we have just from our category class. Return this, we will find here our method get name. Now we have successfully injected our category and used its method get name for category. With the advent of Magento 2.4.4 and subsequent versions embracing PHP 8, we are poised to leverage the innovative constructor property promotion feature introduced in PHP 8. This powerful feature streamlines our coding efforts significantly. Traditionally, the practice involved declaring a class property separately and then initializing it within the constructor. Constructor property promotion elegantly condenses this two-step process. First, I will remove this one, and I will remove this also, and just add here private, and that's all. By simply specifying the properties visibility within the constructor's parameters, we achieve the same outcome more simply. This refined approach retains the original functionality while minimizing the code footprint. For enhanced reliability, especially when dealing with numerous dependencies, it is advisable to format constructor arguments with line breaks like this. PHP 8 further enhances this by allowing a trailing comma in the argument list, reducing the potential for version control conflict. Embracing constructor property promotion in new Magento development projects is something I advocate strongly for. The efficiency and clarity it brings to the code are invaluable. Interfaces play a vital role in Magento 2 development. Here is why. Abstraction. They decouple your code from concrete implementations, making it more flexible and adaptable to changes. Extensibility. Interfaces promote modularity, allowing third-party developers to extend or modify functionality without affecting your core code. Testability. Interfaces make it easier to write unit tests by allowing you to mock dependencies. Service contracts. Magento 2 extensively uses interfaces to define service contracts. These contracts provide a clear API for modules to interact with each other, enhancing stability. Let's start with a category class. The first thing here, we will use interface in our category model. I will implement category interface and use the interface here. Note this generated by GitHub Copilot. I will go to our model and create a file in the folder API data named category interface. Then I will, and here is our interface. Can create the docs here. Now we have finished our interface. Let's turn back to our category. Now our IDE stopped complaining. After that, after implementation the category interface here in our category class, we will go to the product. I will use here, instead of category, I will use category interface. Our IDE already added the category interface in the user statement.
In Magento 2, managing dependencies between different parts of your code is crucial. This lesson will show you how to use XML to define class preferences, a powerful technique for achieving loose coupling and prompting code flexibility. What are class preferences? Imagine you have an interface called category interface that outlines methods for interacting with product categories. Also have a class named category that implements this interface. Now, wouldn't it be great if Magento would automatically use category whenever it counters a request for category interface? This is precisely what class preferences allow you to achieve. Using di.xml for class preferences, we will create new file here in etc folder in our module and click new file di.xml. Note di is a shortcut for dependency injection, and we will open a tag. We will use one. We have model category. Now good to go. The preference node, this element still tells Magento to configure a class preferences. The attribute specifies the interface that you want to override. In this case, we have category interface. Type attribute defines the actual class 1 category class model that will be used instead of the interface. Benefits of class preferences: interface-based development. By relying on interfaces, you could become more flexible and easier to maintain. You can swap implementations without affecting other parts of the system as long as the interface contract remains unchanged. Extensibility: third-party developers can create their own implementations of the interface, providing alternative functionalities without breaking existing code that depends on category interface. Real-world example: flexibility with interfaces. Suppose you currently retrieve category names from a simple string, but what if you later decide to fetch them from a third-party API or database? Let's see here the category class. We return here static name, but in product we are getting the category name from our database or category here category class, as you can see. So as long as your new implementation adheres to the methods defined in category interface, you can modify the category class without causing issues in the rest of your application. Any code using category interface will continue to function seamlessly.
Creating basic page response. Magento provides a class to render a blank page that we can build upon. Here is how to create a basic page response in our index controller. First, we create the constructor that define and inject the necessary dependencies. We will use dependency injection to inject the page factory class public function, and we will use auto-generated code from GitHub Copilot. We have injected the page factory class here from this one, and we will comment this out and return the page factory. I will explain this now. We defined a private page factory and use dependency injection to inject page factory from Magento framework view results, and the execute method here returns an instance of the page created by the page factory. The factory classes in Magento are special objects managed by Magento's object manager. They create new instances of objects each time the create method is called. This ensures that we get a new instance of the page object every time we request it. Now we will test this out. I will refresh the page. You note here this is the die function. We got a blank page and there is no errors. In conclusion, creating a standard blank page is an essential step in Magento module development. It ensures that the response aligns with Magento's layout system, allowing us to easily add custom functionality and content.
Magento uses .html extension for template files, which are PHP files primarily used to output HTML. Magento's HTML format included syntactic sugar for rendering logic like loops and conditionals, making it easier to integrate PHP logic in these templates. Template file location. Magento modules store presentational layer files in the view directory depending on whether you are dealing with front end or the admin area. The directory contains either front end or admin HTML subdirectories. For the front end, create the following directory. Here in your module name, we will create this file. I will here write the path view front end template, and
I will name my file welcome.html and I will write here hello world in my template file. Displaying the template, to render this template on the screen, you need to define where Magento should display it using layout XML, which will be covered next. What is a layout XML file? A layout XML file in Magento is like a blueprint for your page. It defines the structure and content of a page using XML. Creating the layout directory, and we will create the file here. We go to the root path of our module and we will create a new file in this path, front-end layout, and we will write the file name, front name kickstart, and controller name index, and action name index.xml. As you can see here, this is the front name and this is the controller name and this is the action name. We will find here our route, the front name here, kickstart, and our controller name and our action name here. After we created the file, redefine template for the layout, and I will use GitHub Copilot to help me generate this code. This is the reference container content in our page. We will add this HTML file, but we don't need the class here, and we will use the naming convention for our block. It is vendor name and module name in snake case and our template name, and we will use our naming for our module. It is IC4U Kickstart. We can find it here in our registration.php, and we will use our template. It is named welcome. After that, we will flush the cache and we will check our page. We can use here Kickstart directly. We notice here that our template has inserted, and we can go to our controller name index and our action name index. It is the same like this, but if we use index, so it is the same like we don't go to index /index/index. Recap for this lesson: Magento uses XML files to define page layout. We created a layout XML file and added a block to the content container. We created a template file for the block. We flushed the cache to apply the changes. Now it's your turn to create a layout XML file and a template file for a custom URL, then refresh your Magento site to see the changes.
Did you know that 60% of users will leave a site due to poor data presentation? In Magento 2, how you handle data can make or break user engagement. Let's explore game-changing solution, view models. By the end of this video, you will see how they can transform your development process. We are diving into Magento 2 view models. These powerful tools separate logic from presentation, making your code cleaner and more efficient. We will cover what they are, why you should use them, and walk through a practical example. Many developers struggle with cultured templates and complex logic in Magento 2. This often leads to hard-to-maintain code. Have you ever found yourself lost in a sea of PHP logic while trying to update a simple template? You are not alone. Let's discuss how view models can solve this problem by providing a structured way to handle data. View models. These PHP classes handle presentation logic, keeping your block classes slim, and they offer better code organization, reusability across templates, simplified testing. Common use cases include preparing data for templates, handling calculations, and managing complex logic. Let's see how they work with examples of how they can simplify your code base and improve maintainability. Jump into a live coding session. We will create a view model in our ITC4U Bootcamp module. First thing, we will review our code base here. This is a review from our previous tutorials. We will create controller for our module, implements HTTP GET action interface, and our public function execute return page factory object, and our routes.xml, it's a front name Bootcamp and ID Bootcamp. This ID we are using it for our layout XML
file naming convention. So when we create a layout XML file, we are naming it bootcamp_index_index.xml. We will review here our layout XML file. We are naming our block name, and this is the template we are using, welcome message.html. Don't forget name of our module itc4u_bootcamp. The last thing here, it's our arguments to use view model class. We will then go to our view model class here to see what we did in our file code. First thing, the class implements argument interface, and we have a function here, get welcome message, return this string, and also get current date time function. It return string also for our current date and time. The last thing, function name get demo products. It is returning an array for a demo product, these two products. We are reviewing our template. There is a documentation for our template. First line of our template is identifying where is the core Magento template is here. If we are using IDE like PHP Store, we can locate the template by clicking command on the template path here. And also for our view model, we are identifying the path for IDE. So if we click on it, we can navigate to this class. Let's go to our code. Here we are getting the welcome message from the view model and get the current time and date from our view model using get current date and time function. And we here making a for each loop to get our product name and price. Let's see our result here. As you can see, this is our page and this is our front name. Welcome to view model tutorial, the current date and time as we specified, and this is the demo products from view model as you can see here. To recap, view models in Magento 2 help us separate logic from presentation, keep block classes clean, enhance code reusability. By using view models, we create more maintainable and scalable code. They are must-have tool in your Magento 2 development kit. Remember to always focus on clean modular design. Thanks for watching. If you found this tutorial helpful, give it thumbs up and subscribe for more Magento tips. Have questions or want to share your experience? Drop a comment below. Check out my other videos for more on Magento 2 development techniques. Your feedback helps us improve and create content that matters to you.